The Biochemical Society scientific scissors using the genome editing cards is a really good way to get people to think about the applications of genome editing, because there's a lot more than just the science and the research, and it's a really great way to get people to come to you and tell you about their opinions and their preconceptions about genome editing, and then maybe work towards changing that or getting them to think more about other applications and the importance of it. So the cards are really good food for thought. We found it's good to put a few up, have your opinions, you're entitled to your opinions as long as you're not forcing them on others. So it's really good food for thought.
There are lots of resources and support that researchers can use to help them to discuss genome editing with the public. And I think they're resources that are really helpful because not only are they useful for researchers as a tool to help them have those discussions, but they're useful things for the public to explore as well. And I think there's so much out there. It's worth, typing into your search engine and finding out what resources are available and how they might be able to help you.
Another of the activities that I am developing is an ethics workshop on the use of genome editing, in particularly in the research we do at Babraham Institute, focused on healthy aging. So I will take all the research lines that we have in the Institute and transform them into an hypothetical scenario of what could happen in 5-10 years' time with the use of genome editing. And the idea being that researchers engage with young audiences in deciding what is morally acceptable and what is not, so that they can incorporate it in their research projects, and the young people can think about it and be informed for the future. So this resource will be available as a pack for running in schools, so they can engage with young audiences and they can ask scientists from our research institute or any other institute to come and support this activity.
The best thing that I've found about taking the genome editing activities to public engagement events is people want to talk to you and they have their own opinions and they know what they want to say, but these activities give them the opportunity for a starting position, to start a conversation, to put what they feel and how they understand genome editing into words and activities, which is great. A lot of people have read about genome editing in the news, have preconceptions, so at these events we give them the opportunity to ask their own questions, talk about their own opinions, which is really, really inspiring to see. I don't feel like you have to go out to talk to people about it. They come to you, they know what they think genome editing should be used for and what it shouldn't be used for, and the vast array of opinions is just great to see.
The Jenga tower, I thought that was very clever because it sort of makes the person or the player empathise with the Cas9 effectively, and it really does help ground the reality of the mechanism that is undertaken by the CRISPR-Cas9 complex. You are given an instruction, you have to scour a certain amount of sequence, you then have to go through the labour of trying to extract that sequence. So I thought that was a really, really great way of getting across all the multiple stages of the actual physical CRISPR-Cas9 editing process. And the sort of the clothesline with the cards on it, that was interesting to watch, but actually a really good debate scene more than anything else, because there was often quite a few people there. Whether they were taking part in hanging the cards or just spectating, it really led to sort of opening the conversation. It's kind of like an icebreaker activity, I think. There was a lot of, oh, really, you thought that? I mean, no, that I wouldn't do that. And, people would come up to the line and go, oh, absolutely not there. This is absolutely abhorrent. I can't possibly imagine that. And it was really interesting, actually, to see how many of the scenarios were deemed extreme, and they were extreme. On the whole, a card was either at one end or the other, and the middle ground was pretty much the middle ground for everybody. So that was really interesting, and I think actually that activity could be really used to sort of gauge different factions of the public, actually. I think you'd probably get quite different outcomes depending on where you went with that activity, I think. So yeah, I think that's really cool.